This is the High Voltage Business Builders Podcast, daily intelligence for serious e-commerce portfolio builders across Amazon, TikTok Shop, Shopify, Walmart, and every channel that moves the needle. Neil Twa and his Voltage team all day, every day since 2012. Let's get into it.
30 days in, and the verdict is in too. Amazon's DD+7 payment policy is hitting sellers exactly as hard as they feared it would, and in some cases harder. Here's what DD+7 means if you're just hearing about it. Amazon now holds your payment for 7 days after delivery confirmation, not after shipment, after delivery. That gap between when the product leaves your hands and when the money hits your account just got longer. And for a lot of sellers, that gap is where cash flow goes to die. If you're doing $10,000 a month, that's real money sitting in limbo. You've already paid for the inventory. You've already paid for the shipping. You've already paid for the ads that drove the sale. And now you're waiting, again, for Amazon to release what you've already earned. If you're doing $50,000 a month, that number in limbo scales with you. We're talking about meaningful five-figure sums held back at any given time, just floating in Amazon's system while your supplier is asking when the next purchase order is coming. And if you're a larger operator running $200,000 or more per month across a portfolio, the math gets uncomfortable fast. The float Amazon is holding from your business could fund someone else's entire operation. This isn't a policy that hurts one type of seller. It compresses everyone's runway, just at different dollar amounts. The question isn't whether DD+7 is painful. 30 days of real-world data has answered that. The question is, what do you do about it? And what does this signal about where Amazon's relationship with third-party sellers is actually heading? Let's break down the mechanics, because understanding exactly how this works changes how you fight it. Under the old system, Amazon released funds based on shipment confirmation plus a short processing window. You shipped, Amazon confirmed, money moved. The cycle was tight enough that most sellers could manage inventory turns without outside financing. DD+7 breaks that cycle. Now the clock doesn't start until the carrier confirms delivery. Then, you wait 7 more days on top of that. In practice, accounting for transit times, carrier scans, and Amazon's own processing, sellers are reporting that what used to take 7 to 10 days is now taking 14 to 21 days, sometimes longer. For a seller doing $5,000 to $20,000 a month, that extra week or two of delay isn't just inconvenient. It can mean missing a reorder window. It can mean going out of stock on a top SKU because the cash to reorder isn't available yet. And going out of stock on Amazon isn't just a temporary sales pause. It tanks your ranking, and rebuilding that ranking costs ad spend you may not have. For a seller doing $50,000 a month, the delayed float could easily represent $15,000 to $25,000 sitting inaccessible at any given point. That's not a rounding error. That's a purchase order. Amazon's stated rationale is customer protection, holding funds to reduce disputes and fraud. That logic has merit in theory. In practice, the sellers absorbing the cost of that protection are the small and mid-sized operators who can least afford to carry it. The policy doesn't bend for tenure. It doesn't bend for track record. It doesn't bend for account health score. Every seller, regardless of how long they've been on the platform or how clean their metrics are, waits the same 7 days post-delivery. That's the part that's generating the most frustration 30 days in. 2 sellers, same policy. Very different positions, but the same core lesson. First, a mid-level seller in the home goods category doing roughly $30,000 a month in revenue. Solid account health, 3 years on the platform. Under the old disbursement schedule, this seller ran a tight but manageable reorder cycle. Collect payment, reorder inventory, stay in stock. DD+7 snapped that cycle in half. Within the first 30 days of the policy change, this seller missed a reorder window on their top-performing SKU. Not because demand dropped, not because the product had issues, because the cash wasn't there yet. They went out of stock for 11 days. Ranking dropped. When they came back in stock, they had to spend an additional $2,000 in sponsored ads just to recover the position they'd held organically. The policy didn't just delay their cash, it costs them real money to stay competitive. Second, a larger operator running a portfolio across 4 categories, averaging $180,000 a month. This seller saw DD+7 coming and moved fast. They established a revolving line of credit tied specifically to inventory financing, not to cover losses, but to bridge the float gap Amazon created. They also renegotiated payment terms with 2 of their 3 suppliers, extending from net 30 to net 45, buying themselves additional runway on the payable side while the receivable side stretched out. Same policy. One seller absorbed the hit, one seller restructured around it. This is what sellers who survive platform changes do differently. They don't wait to feel the pain. They anticipate the structural shift and build a bridge before the gap opens under them. 3 moves, applicable at every level. Start with the one that matters most right now. Move 1. Map your actual float gap today. Not in theory, in your bank account. Pull the last 30 days of disbursements and compare them against when the corresponding orders were delivered. Calculate the average number of days between delivery confirmation and cash in your account. That number is your new operating reality. If you don't know it exactly, you're managing your business on assumptions that are no longer true. A seller doing $10,000 a month needs to know this number as badly as a seller doing $300,000 a month. Move 2. Build a bridge before you need one. If you're a smaller seller, that might mean opening a business line of credit now, not when you're out of stock and desperate. Lenders want to see healthy businesses, not distressed ones. If you're a mid-level operator, look at your supplier payment terms. Can you extend net 30 to net 45? Can you negotiate a partial payment structure? Even a 10-day extension on payables buys meaningful runway when your receivables just stretched by the same amount. Larger operators should be formalizing an inventory financing facility specifically sized around the float Amazon is now holding. Move 3. Protect your top SKUs first. You cannot defend every product equally under cash flow pressure. Identify your 2 or 3 highest-ranking, highest-margin SKUs and prioritize their reorder cycles above everything else. Going out of stock on a mid-tier product hurts. Going out of stock on your number 1 SKU while you're waiting on Amazon's disbursement is a preventable disaster. Triage is a strategy. Use it. Cash flow management isn't an advanced operator skill. It's the foundational skill. DD+7 just made that lesson mandatory for everyone. DD+7 isn't going away. Amazon made that clear, which means the sellers who adapt their financial architecture now are the ones who will still be standing and growing 6 months from now. If you're sitting on this and feeling the pressure, you're not alone. This is one of the most common conversations happening inside our community right now. Sellers at every level, from those just crossing $5,000 a month to operators managing millions in annual revenue, are working through the same cash flow math and asking the same questions. That's exactly what we built Voltage to help with. For 13 years, we've operated in this space, not as consultants watching from the outside, but as operators who have personally managed the inventory cycles, the supplier negotiations, the ad spend, and the platform policy shifts that define this business. When Amazon changes the rules, we don't just report on it. We adapt to it, and we help our sellers do the same. If you're evaluating whether Amazon FBA is still the right model for you, given changes like this, or if you're already in it and need to restructure how you're managing cash flow, go to voltagedm.com. Book a call. Talk to someone who has actually run this business at every level you're trying to reach. This isn't about selling you something. It's about making sure you're building something that lasts through policy changes, platform shifts, and whatever Amazon decides to do next quarter, because the business is still worth building. You just have to build it right. I'm Neil Twa. This is the High Voltage Business Builders Podcast. Stay high voltage.
That's a wrap on today's episode. If something we covered today sparked an idea or made you wonder where you actually fit in the e-commerce landscape, there's a good place to start. Head over to voltagedm.com/discover. Answer a few questions, and we'll point you toward the right path for where you are right now. We'll be back tomorrow with another edge. Until then, stay high voltage.